Some of the best classic movies read like paranoid delusions. In Terminator, the police mock Kyle Reese as he raves about the time-traveling robot menace busting down their door. In The Truman Show, Truman Burbank realizes his whole town is a conspiracy to surveil him. And in The Matrix, our reality turns out to be a false one, built by powerful computers who use our bodies as batteries. All of these sound like something that Tweaker from Breaking Bad would rant about as he came down off meth.
You're gonna get squeezed right through the chainlings, like Play-Doh or some kind of soft meat. And this is inevitable, okay? And there's nothing you or me or anyone can do about it.
In the original Matrix script, our bodies weren't batteries, but extra computing power. The machines were basically using us to solve CAPTCHAs. CAPTCHAs teach computers to do difficult tasks by tricking us into training them. Eventually, computers will sort stop signs from crosswalks all on their own. No going back after that. We're raising the AI which will subjugate us. The apocalypse is well underway. In all seriousness, The Matrix isn't really about robots. Sure, there are robots, big scary ones, but they're metaphors. The Matrix is really about a particular state of mind. A character in The Matrix begins trapped, believing the way they experience the world is the way the world is. Select few can take a pill to derealize that illusion and see the truth, represented by scary robots. But as soon as the movie is over and the audience leaves the theater, they ask, what if the scary robot universe is also an illusion? Maybe it's illusions all the way down.
It looks like you're inside a simulation inside a simulation.
It's a natural question to ask. From the audience's perspective, the robot universe was just as fictional as the rest of the movie. No matter how many pills Neo swallows and how many real worlds he discovers, he'll never escape his fiction into the real world. And if he does, so what? After 99 pills and 99 universes where humans are slave to clam, so what if the 100th pill popped Neo out of the silver screen? After 99 fake realities, why would he accept this one as real? Neo would be popping pills right away, looking for the real world. He'd see us as trapped by delusion, just like he sees the Agent Smiths as trapped by their code, indistinguishable from their surroundings. The pill represents liberating insight into the nature of reality. Neo needs just one pill to see there's no boundary between the fiction of his setting and the fiction of his self. We don't get that easy out because we're not fictional characters. Understanding our predicament means understanding the whole universe, and that sounds hard. So instead, let's ogle some more pop culture. Rick and Morty has a bunch of universes, and none of them are considered the real one. When mad scientist Rick ruins one universe, he hops to the neighboring one. Rick's spaceship is powered by a universe he made, inside of which is another universe powering that one. Some characters don't like this. They think a subsidiary universe isn't worth living in. Morty is disturbed when he abandons his reality. Perhaps, like Cypher in The Matrix, these characters would prefer returning to the delusion of a single, consistent universe. Rick, meanwhile, is a natural denizen of the multiverse. He's switched universes before, he's built universes before. Some of those universes have built their own universes. When he's trapped in a Matrix-style simulation, even a deeply nested one, he's not disadvantaged. He's at the top of his game.
You're inside a simulation of a simulation inside another giant simulation.
When he's interrogated in a mental theater, he uses the chance to taste a discontinued sauce. Rick floats through realities hedonistically. He doesn't care if the Szechuan sauce is real. He just cares that he can taste it. For Rick, everything real or not exists to be used by him. But this doesn't make him happy or even emotionally stable. If he's not contemplating suicide, he's probably snorting something. Rick's drugs aren't like Nemo's, emblematic of insight into reality. Rick's drugs are to cope with a reality with no insight to be had. Rick can't get satisfaction from even a gallon of Szechuan sauce because all sauce comes from a universe which can be discarded. Neo is grounded by his real reality, even if it's metaphorical. Notice also that Neo takes just one pill and nurtures his liberating insight sober. If anything, Rick returns to drugs to escape the insight provided by his very high IQ and edgy, cynical worldview. So, are we more like Neo having a real reality to ground us, or more like Rick floating aimlessly through a multitude of universes, none more real than the rest? Well, we might as well ask someone who claims to know. Carlos Castaneda wrote a bunch of books about a guy named Don Juan, who's sort of a Morpheus with peyote buttons instead of pills. It's hard to tell if anything in these books is actually real. Like, they're in the anthropology section, but the stories thread the needle of plausibility. Maybe the events in these books actually occurred the way Castaneda describes, or maybe not. Which sounds like the perfect place to wrap up this discussion on false realities. Don Juan has probably taken more drugs than Rick. Don Juan is a brujo, a Latin American sorcerer acquainted with hallucinogens on a first-name basis. Under Don Juan's instruction, Castaneda spends the first 2 books meeting Mescalito, the anthropomorphized spirit of peyote, and trying to understand the resulting visions. The rest of the books feature no drug experiences, but they're no less impenetrable. Don Juan outlines the Yaqui way of knowledge, a perception of the world which Castaneda struggles to describe, because he wasn't making references to Keanu Reeves movies like I am. Like Neo, Don Juan can see things in a non-conventional manner. When we see things, says Don Juan, our perceptions are molded into concrete objects by societal convention, as if our brains were imprisoned by robots. When a sorcerer sees things, they see a kind of abstract energy. Castaneda just can't accept this. It is unquestionably a world of objects, he says, and Don Juan replies, "Of course it is a world of objects. I am saying this is first a world of energy." In this perspective, our conventional reality of entities with attributes sort of floats on top of a reality with no fundamental qualities at all. Conventional reality is useful. Conventional reality lets us buy groceries and pay rent. But conventional reality is also a trap, because from the vantage point of conventional reality is the only reality. To escape that trap means finding the fundamental reality, the empty one. From that vantage point, the conventional reality is meaningless and can therefore be altered.
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
Humans make their own reality, and that realization is a pill you only ever need to take once. If Don Juan watched The Matrix, he might understand Neo's moment of transcendence here as the realization that he is the robots. We use us to solve CAPTCHAs, basically. Maybe Don Juan would prefer The Truman Show, where humans are enthralled with a reality they know is fake. For Rick to overcome his depression, he'll have to accept his responsibility for his position in the multiverse. He can't blame God or the government or Jerry. For Rick, the multiverse is Rick. Or maybe I'm thinking about it too much. That's all I do here at Thinkster. I don't feel the need to take any of the drugs Carlos Castaneda claims Don Juan recommended. I'm satisfied letting other people take Yerba del Diablo or whatever and reading their descriptions. Here's one. This guy on the subreddit r/drugs asks how much Datura he should take, and the consensus is none at all. He takes Datura anyway, and his next post is google.com, how normal again, stop now. There are two possibilities. Maybe Datura affected their mind, just like the consensus warned. Or maybe this guy didn't take any Datura at all, and he's making a joke to get imaginary internet points. There's no way for us to know which of those realities we're living in. Either way, it's just a story we can choose to believe or not. Maybe you'll choose to live in a reality where you're subscribed to my channel, and even supporting me on Patreon alongside these squidlings and elder squids. In case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.